everybody. Today we're going to do chicken. I'm going to start with a pan-seared chicken thigh dish, and then we're going to talk about roast chicken. So I'm going to get started right away. I've talked about air drying your protein, whether it's fish, beef, steaks, chicken. So I've had this chicken. I'm going to get rid of some of the extra fat, but I've had it sitting in the fridge for, I don't know, maybe an hour or so, just to allow it to dry out. And that's going to give me a really nice sear on the skin, beautiful color, and it's going to also add a lot of flavor just by having the fat caramelize. So I'm just going to get rid of this extra skin here, and give it a little sprinkling. I need to refill my salt bowl. Give it a little sprinkling of salt because you want to season each layer as you go, okay? And I've got a little bit of olive oil. My pan is hot, so I've already heated up the pan. You can feel that it's hot. I'm going to just put a little swirl of olive oil. And as soon as, not sure if you can see it, I don't know, but as soon as the oil starts to swirl around, looks like waves kind of, I know it's ready. And because I already had the pan going, it happens really quickly. So once I put this down, it's going to sizzle right away, and that's what I want, just like that. Okay? So braising chicken is a very simple way to do a quick meal. And I like to do, if I'm going to do braising like this, I like to do either breasts or thighs, just because they cook the same amount of time. I'm going to wash my hands. And so we're going to do thighs because they just make the juiciest braise. So in the meantime, I'm going to do, that was supposed to happen. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the root end. I'm going to give it a smash, like that. I'm going to cut it in half and double check to make sure there's no thick little sperm in there, and there's not, so that's good. Just wipe this off of here. And then I have got a little piece of ginger, so I'm just going to peel it with a sharp knife really quickly. This is, I don't know, this is the easiest way for me to do this. You could use a vegetable peeler, but you're so craggly. Is that a word, craggly? So we're just going to basically get the skin off. Now, as the chicken is cooking, I'm not going to move it. I'm not going to move it because that will create steam and you won't get a nice round crust. Okay, so I'm going to chop the garlic and the ginger together, and I'm just going to mince those up. So I leave the point of my knife down and give myself some balance here. Keep my fingers out of the way and just chop away. And one thing that helps a little bit with doing this is add a little salt. Maybe a quarter of a teaspoon, and that just creates some grit and helps to get the juices going in the garlic and in the ginger. So we want this to be pretty fine, because we're not going to cook this very long. So that's probably good. Okay. So we've got this nice little paste here. Okay. And then I'm going to use, the recipe calls for shallots. So what I'm doing is the chicken braised with tomato, orange juice, and honey. Spices. It's got sort of a Moroccan feel to it. I love this dish. I didn't have a shallot, so I'm just using half an onion. So I have the root on, and I'm going to just slice. I'll do it this way, big movements like this. Okay, I'm not cutting all the way through the onion, except right there. It's still stuck together. And then I want this to be small like this, because we're not going to cook it for very long. Okay, so this whole dish should take you less than 30 minutes. And then I've got my clean towel and I've got my bowl, so I don't have to look for my garbage can, so I can move faster. So we will. Okay, so we're going to check this. If I try and pick this up and it lifts up, I know it's ready. And so you can see I've got this nice color. We could leave it for a few more minutes. If it's stuck to the pan, then I know it really hasn't browned yet and it's not ready to release. So this all looks pretty good. I'll give it another minute. Now, if you've got lots of chicken skin and there's lots of fat in here, you can just take a paper towel. I take a paper towel, I use my tongs, and I kind of dab some of the fat out and then throw that away. Although I trimmed it a little bit, so I don't think I'm really going to need that, okay? So now what I'm going to do is flip this over, okay? And I've got a little room here, so I'm going to add all of my ingredients. And we're just going to saute this for a minute. Let it soften. I don't really want it to brown. So I've got the ginger, the garlic, the onion, and then I have my spice blend, and this is all in the recipe. It's cinnamon, cumin, turmeric, a little smoked paprika, so it's going to have a nice spicy feel. So I'm just going to add all of that to the onion. Now there's many recipes for braising chicken. One of my favorites that I've given you also is a traditional French way, which is to simply cook it with onions and a cup of vinegar. Sounds weird, but once it reduces, it is fabulous. So, you know, whatever your sort of taste interest is, you want to see what's happening here? So we're just going to let this saute a little bit. About a minute. Just needs about a minute. Okay. And I don't know, I think that's about a minute. Okay, so I've turned over the breast, or the thighs. This is sauteing. I think that's good. So we're going to add, and this is optional, garbanzo beans. We're going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of orange juice. I'm just going to squeeze it in here. Like that. Get all that juice out. So we've got orange juice. I have got a tablespoon of tomato paste and a tablespoon of honey. So I've got my honey right here. I better bring this over. Okay, tablespoon of honey. It smells really good already. And a tablespoon of tomato paste. Okay. And then I'm going to add a cup of my broth. So this broth has been just sitting out from the broth I made earlier. And I'm going to add that. And then we're going to put the lid on. And this will take, maybe 15-20 minutes max. And it's got a beautiful color. Can you see it? You can put, you could do something like add sweet potatoes too, or yams to this if you wanted. We're just going to do the garbanzo beans. Okay, so that's going to simmer away with the wrong lid, but that doesn't matter. I think I'll stick it in the back here. Okay, so I'll just stick this back here, and that just needs to simmer. So that is it for that. Okay, so I'll get this out of the way, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle it with fresh mint at the end. So I will get this. I'm going to save my orange here in case I need it, okay? All right, so I just pulled this out of the oven. Not gonna lie, I didn't keep an eye on it as well as I should have, and so you can see it got a little charred here, but the chicken is perfectly done. So in your recipe I've given you, it explains how the timing works for the chicken. And so it's 45 minutes plus 7 minutes per pound. And the explanation's in the recipe. So for example, my chicken was 4.68 pounds. So I'm going to cook it 45 minutes plus 4.68 pounds times 7 minutes. That added another 32 minutes. And so a total of 77 minutes. I always check it a little before that because maybe my oven's a little bit hot. This is Thomas Keller's method, the owner of the French Laundry. So rather than buying a pre-cooked chicken at the grocery store, we can just do exactly what Thomas Keller is, and you're, paying $45 a plate for this, okay? It's delicious. So all I did was, let me get my ladder. All I did was I started with the brine, and we did that yesterday with the brine. So this morning I took it out of the brine, okay, and I tied a little string around the legs just to keep it so that it looks nice. But inside, so I didn't do anything, I just brined it, right? Pulled it out, dried it off, let it come to room temperature, and inside I stuck half a lemon, I had a piece of rosemary, I think there might be half an onion in there, and that just plumps up the chicken, helps it to stay nice and plump, and just gives it lots of flavor. Okay. The chicken wings were folded back as they normally are, and then I just tied the legs together, otherwise it splays out, it just doesn't look as nice. So that's all I did. Then I rubbed the breast with a tiny bit of olive oil, and I just chose a spice blend that I had, and it was the same spice blend that was in the brine that we did yesterday. So I just sprinkled a little more of it just to give it a nice color and a little bit of flavor on the skin. And then I use these sheet pans, or you can use a roasting pan. Instead of using a roasting rack that you have to wash, and that's just another time-consuming thing, I just put a little row of celery, whole carrots, I had some lemon, and that just lifts it up off of the pan so that it can get brown all the way around the skin. And also then I don't have to, wash that whole rack thing. And this is just adding flavor to the sauce. So I'm going to actually take all of this and just put it in my broth for now. I have the rosemary. Now you don't need this, it's just, in the yard, so I throw it in. And then all I need to do is turn on the heat. Okay, this is just the juices and a little water that I added in the beginning, so you have all this juice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean this. You know, I'm gonna have to scrub this a little because I didn't really keep an eye on it. What you want to do is just keep a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan. But this is easy to wash. And then I'm gonna add a little wine because the acid helps to bring up all of the little bits. I'm gonna bring this to a boil and then I'll just put it in a little pitcher and serve it as, you know, just the juice, the au jus. And it's got a little bit of the fat from the chicken. It's a beautiful color, okay? That's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna make a fancy sauce or anything. It's just the juice is just perfect, okay? Now, you want your chicken to come to 165. So what I like to do is I start checking the chicken about 10 to 15 minutes earlier, like I said. I put it in the thigh away from the bone. If I feel the bone, then I kind of move it around. If it touches the bone, it's going to give you an inaccurate temperature. These are 10 bucks on Amazon. So once this is at about 160, 150, I take it out, I let it rest for 10 to 15 minutes, and it will go up to 165. Okay, so we'll put the sauce to the side. I'll put it up here because it's hot. And then since I had the oven on, anyway, I just roasted some vegetables, things that look like they needed to be used up. So I've got some potato slices, and I roasted some, I had a couple onions that were looking like they needed attention, and also they'll be delicious. Okay, so we've got these beautiful vegetables, and then I had two little zucchinis. So I'll just add those. And this is dinner. So this is gorgeous. And we'll have leftovers too. So we'll be able to have chicken salad with our vinaigrette. And then the last thing that I would do, I'm not going to do it right now, but is right before I'm serving, sprinkle everything with herbs because it's spring, right? So sprinkle it with parsley, and it'll just give it that nice, refreshing bite. And then serve it with the juice on the side. So this is, I think this is gorgeous. What do you think, Soap? Does that look good for dinner? You know? Yeah. It looks beautiful. Okay, so we're going to put this over here. And I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so now I can move this. That is going. So we're going to do two more things. One is I just wanted to show you. I talked about doing a bouquet garni, and you have the recipe, but I take some string. Now these, when I have the herbs, for example, right now I have this fresh thyme. I have some parsley stems that I washed. I left them in the rubber band, but I have celery. I have some onion ends. So I'll make a couple bouquet garni out of this little plate here. So I take a celery. I'll take an onion. I'll take a bay leaf. I'll take some of the parsley. I'll take some thyme. Wrap this all together. My celery is going to be my little house. And then I just wrap, let's get these guys off. Oop. I just wrap it with string. I don't know, it got all weird. And tie a little knot like so. And then I just throw these in the freezer and have a Ziploc bag so that when I do broth or soups or anything, throw this in and it'll add lots of flavor, okay? So these are some of the little things that you can do to just add layers and depth of flavor. All right. We'll see how our chicken is doing. Okay. Move this. So here's our broth. I cooked the broth. This is day 2 of broth. I started the broth early in the morning. Can you see it there? I started it early in the morning. I cooked the bones, which are kind of on the bottom. See there, the bones are just falling apart now. I can't even find them. They're just in crumbles. Okay, so here's the little bones. So I started in the morning. I cooked this for 4 to 5 hours, even 6 hours. Chicken bones don't need much more than that. And then I added all of my vegetables. I added the bags of vegetables that I showed you in our last lesson. And I just let it simmer very, very gently. And now all I have to do is strain it. Now, I'm not going to do it in front of you because I do it in the sink and, you know, use it like a big strainer, but just to show you, I just go like this. And what I do, something that's important that I do is I keep everything in here really swimming around in a lot of water. So as the water evaporates, I add more water and add more water so that everything is really floating around because I want to get all of the nutrients, all of the flavor out of everything. Then once I strain it, if I have too much stock, and if I don't have room to have 20 jars of stock, then I put the stock back in the pot just by itself and I let it reduce. And the more it reduces, the more gelatinous it will get. So people say to me sometimes, oh, I made stock, but it didn't get gelatinous. Well, that's just because it's got too much water, and if you reduce it, it will get gelatinous. And if you reduce it all the way down so it's like a hockey puck of gelatin, you can take a teaspoon of that and add a cup of water and you'll have broth. So it's just the amount of water that's in the broth. So I'm going to strain that and then I might reduce it if I decide I have too much liquid. Here's broth. I took it out of the fridge a while ago, but what I wanted to show you is that it's gelatinous. So if I had taken this out, so you can see it's kind of like Jell-O, kind of melting Jell-O. And but if I had taken this out of the fridge just now, it would be even more gelatinous. So that is what you want. That is what's going to help with your joints and ease your stomach. It's wonderful for stomach issues. So my broth is done. Let's see if my chicken's done. I've got my bouquet garnis done. Put this right here. Okay. All I want to do is check the temperature. Just check the temperature. Should be about 165. Yeah. So it's done. So how long did that take us? Now this is one of those things I think is good in a bowl rather than a plate because you don't want to lose that juice. And the last thing I'm going to do is add mint, very Moroccan. So you can do a couple things. You can just tear the leaves if you want, like this, which makes it smell really good in here. Or you can just gather them up. Now, the more you play with mint, the more it'll start to oxidize and bruise. But you can just shred it like that if you prefer that kind of thing. I think we'll do it kind of just tear it. Okay. This just makes it smell so good. Okay. And then I've got some couscous. So couscous is a super simple, it's a grain like a pasta. It is from Morocco, and you can get it in whole wheat. It's a little bit harder to find, but I really like the whole wheat, or just regular couscous. And you simply add the grain to a bowl, add boiling water. It sits for about 5 minutes, it's done. So super, super simple. It has a really wonderful flavor. Okay, so, and you can also get like the fine couscous like this, or you can get like a pearl couscous. It's a little bit coarser. They're both really good. This is the easiest. So we need something to soak up all of that juice. Okay, and I'm going to add chicken thigh. I'm going to add some of this really delicious sauce all over like that. Some garbanzo beans. Probably a little more sauce because that's the best part. And then we'll just sprinkle it with some mint. Like this. And maybe we'll put a mint leaf on it just to be fancy. Okay, so that's it. And I'm gonna make sure that you've got lots of recipes for braised chicken. Okay, that's it. Thanks everybody.